I think there's a lot of overlap between artists and scientists. I always had an interest in larger oceanic thinking, how we're all connected, and inverting that micro-macro relationship that we have to these natural worlds. Coral is quite an amazing creature. All of these tiny individual coral polyps make up this larger ecosystem that works together. Much of my larger architectural sculpture is based off of forms in nature. The coral polyp, it's usually the size of an ant, and then inverting it to a scale of 16 by 20 and dwarfing the human. I'm taking that ontology between human and nature and displacing that hierarchy while also recognizing the collective nature of our existence.
Working on paper feels related to having a diary or keeping a journal. There's always room for discovery. And I think that just speaks to what Mother Nature shows us every day. I'm interested in this kind of suspension of time in my work, where there are things blossoming and growing, while other things are decaying or declining. Those two opposing factors coexist. The figures in my works are camouflaged. Their bodies almost seem to be melting or merging in with their environment, which speaks to a more holistic approach to how we should be part of our natural world, as opposed to a more domineering placement in the planet. I think we need to think about how we can be more integrated into the natural world and maybe do less damage in the process.
I've been thinking a lot about the questions that we ask ourselves in reference to nature. Historically, when we look at nature, we've been asking, what are you? The questions that I want to ask is, how are you? I grew up in the Midwest, where the body in relationship to the landscape is very felt as an experience. In an urban environment, typically, nature is compromised. I think a lot about the labor that goes into the garden, and I'm also thinking about that sense of labor in a parallel context to painting. Materially, I'm trying to capture this entanglement that happens in the garden. I think a lot about structures that have to do with communication, so the way that plants communicate amongst themselves, then spinning those ideas out into like a greater sense of infrastructure and how we communicate as people. And I think that opens up a dialogue between us and the natural realm. It's about a resolution.